First, a look back at the story of Bergdahl. Bergdahl graduated infantry school in 2008 and eventually deployed to Afghanistan. He soon appeared to grow disillusioned with the war. A Rolling Stone magazine story quotes Bergdahl's final email to his parents before his capture, saying, quote, "I am ashamed to even be American. The horror of the self-righteous arrogance that they thrive in, it is all revolting. The title of U.S. soldier is just the lie of fools, and the horror that is America is disgusting."
Before Osama bin Laden was taken down, I was briefed on this. I was briefed multiple times over the course of the 6 months. I was given a heads up several days before this happened. So this idea that they couldn't trust us to not leak things is just not true.
The terrorists, the Taliban dream team.
All of this was brought upon us in a single day.
I don't work for the military. I don't work for the government. I don't represent the American people.
The candidate, Obama promised he would not bypass Congress with an executive action called signing statements. Here it is.
Do you promise not to use presidential signage to get your way?
Yes. Congress's job is to pass legislation. The president can veto it or he can sign it. But what George Bush has been trying to do is part of his effort to accumulate more power.
Yes, that's a good idea.
He's been saying, well, I can basically change what Congress passed by attaching a letter saying, I don't agree with this part or I don't agree with that part. I'm going to choose to interpret it this way or that way. That's not part of his power. But this is part of the whole theory of George Bush, that he can make laws as he's going along. I disagree with that. I taught the Constitution for 10 years. I believe in the Constitution, and I will obey the Constitution of the United States. We're not going to use signing statements as a way of doing an end run around Congress. All right?
Before Osama bin Laden was taken down, I was briefed on this. I was briefed multiple times over the course of the 6 months. I was given a heads up several days before this happened. And so this idea that they couldn't trust us to not leak things is just not true. And it wasn't just me. There were other members of the leadership who were well aware of the planning and the activities that were going in to this effort. That is not true. I was never briefed about a 5-to-1 swap. Listen, we're glad that Bergdahl is back. But the biggest issue here is the violation of a policy that the United States has had for many, many years, that we don't negotiate with terrorists. And the fact is that we have violated that policy, and as a result, we've made Americans less safe here and all around the world. And we're going to pay for this. There is not any doubt in my mind there are going to be lost lives associated with what came out of this.
I want you to consider this quote from a top Taliban insurgent talking to a Time magazine editor. It is better to kidnap one person like Bergdahl than kidnapping hundreds of useless people.
When he does it.
Now who's having trouble speaking English. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Zayabayem. Bismillah.
Will lift a dark threat of violence from our people and our future. We will rally the world to this cause by our efforts, by our courage. We will not tire, we will not falter, and we will not fail.
It kind of hit me a little bit harder because I was considered his good friend. There was 2 or 3 of us that were also pretty close with Bergdahl. So overall in the platoon, like, it was kind of a lot of shock and some anger too. And I mean, he just kind of walked off on us. I don't consider him to be a traitor because I have no evidence. I haven't seen any evidence to indicate that he actually planned to defect. All we know is that he deserted, and that's it. And ultimately, I hope that when he's fit, that he stands trial by court-martial. And if the judges rule him not guilty or guilty, or they give him a punishment, I'll respect whatever decision they hand down on him. And right before he did leave, he actually did say, like, I thought it was a joke at the time. It still could have been, who knows. But he said, what would it be like if I got lost out in the wood, on the mountains? Or do you think I could walk to India or China on foot? And I just laughed at it. And he kind of seemed to smirk and laugh it off too. So I took it as nothing at the time. Personally, I would like to be able to talk to the guy and ask him why he did this, because that's the ultimate question that everybody's been asking, or that everybody should be asking, is get down to the matter. And maybe we'll know, maybe we won't know. But if I had the chance to, I would like to ask him personally. I probably won't get that chance though.
There is a sacred trust between a country and its leader, between a president and the people he leads. When a leader violates that trust, the people from whom he derives his power have the inalienable right to remove him.
A prisoner of war whose health had deteriorated, and we were deeply concerned about, and we saw an opportunity and we seized it, and I make no apologies for that.
But when key senators didn't buy the ill excuse, a new narrative emerged. The Taliban would kill Bergdahl if you followed U.S. law and told Congress. Seriously? Mr. President, my sources tell me that you knew Bergdahl's location for months. Why didn't you send in SEAL Team 6? It would have made another great photo op. Why didn't you send in those drones? Could it be, Mr. President, he was your excuse to release 5 Taliban terrorists from Gitmo? Those 5 men, the worst of the worst. Some wanted by the UN for mass murders, killing thousands, Al-Qaeda connected. These are the guys who behead their enemies, including children. They hate America and everything we stand for. And you released them, knowing many returned to the battlefield because Arab country Qatar assured you that they do not pose a threat to us? And you're good with that? You buy it? You think 12 years in Gitmo has softened their resolve to kill us? Mr. President, you didn't just release them. You unleashed them. And you alone will be responsible for the hell that will be unleashed on us. You have teed us up for death and destruction. And don't give me this hogwash that they're prisoners of war who have to be freed when we leave Afghanistan. They are not prisoners of war. The Taliban is not a country. They are enemy combatants who can be held indefinitely and should have been tried for their crimes. And as much as you want to take terms like Islamic extremist and jihad out of our lexicon, the war on terror is far from over. You didn't have to release them. And I don't give a damn whether you try them at Gitmo, in a military tribunal, or in a federal court. United States attorneys have prosecuted these dirtbags and convicted them time and again. Here's the bottom line. You negotiated with terrorists. You broke the very law that you signed. You have shown terrorists that they can win concessions by kidnapping Americans. In the history of this country, we have never traded mass murderers for a deserter. My father and grandfather fought in World War II. Ironically, you go to Normandy 70 years later, where my grandfather was injured, and make like you respect the military.
You call yourself a commander-in-chief. But what commander-in-chief doesn't support a surge but sends in 40,000 troops anyway? What commander-in-chief reduces benefits to those in the military, closes the Veterans War Memorial, reduces the Army to pre-World War II levels, knowingly allows veterans to die in our hospitals, while replenishing the enemy in a time of war? Mr. President, you are destroying this country. You have diminished us on the world stage. You have trampled on the very laws that you swore to uphold. You are not a true commander-in-chief. We've impeached a president for lying about sex with an intern. Your actions, far more egregious, demand impeachment.